This is my version of how to cook perfect hard-boiled eggs. Your first secret is, if you buy eggs like me, what you gotta do is you gotta buy your eggs ahead of time. Alright? We normally get this huge box at Sam's Club, but Sam's Club this year changed the way they do things, and now they come in these little boxes of 5 dozen eggs. Thing is stuck on there. Okay. So, you take your eggs and you leave them out of you put them in your fridge at least 2 weeks ahead of when you want to boil them, because you want that membrane on the inside to break down. That makes it nicer for them to peel. You won't get the big chunkies off of there. Okay. I've already added about a cup of vinegar to this container or to my pot, because this is my huge spaghetti pot. I don't even remember how many quarts it is. It is huge. It is bigger than my pressure canner. Alright, this is my secret. I picked these up at the Dollar Tree. It was this one and then a spaghetti one. Okay, and as the water heats up, it starts to turn black from the outside in. Alright, once this thing is completely black, my eggs are done, and I can shut off the heat. Now I've got in there 4 quarts of water on the bottom already. Okay, I do that first. I leave my eggs out of the refrigerator for at least a half an hour, the first ones that go in, so that they can come up to room temperature so they don't crack when they hit the water that's going to be warmer than the eggs. And here, can you hold this, V? Okay, try not to get too much. Alright, just right there on the eggs. Just stay on the eggs. Then I put in the first batch of water, put in the first batch of eggs. Put in the second batch of eggs, which are cold, and then put in the vinegar. The timer goes on right in the middle on the top. It's real important it stays in the middle, alright, because that tells you when your water is going to be hot enough. Okay, and then you just keep adding cold water. Okay, oh, let's see, I take that back. I had 6 quarts in here before. Okay, so that's 12 quarts of water. Alright, you want to make sure all the eggs are underneath. To add more water, make sure that, see, they're not floating. They just need more water underneath them or over them. Okay? Then, I let this sit for about a half an hour, and then I'll turn on the heat, because what I found was happening was that if I put the heat on right away while this water was still cold, then what would happen is I'd get condensation on the outside of my pot, and it would drip down into the fire, and all of a sudden I would be smelling gas because I put my fire out. The one advantage that I find electric stoves have over gas ovens is they tend not to go out as you're cooking. Okay, so make sure that's in there in such a way that you can read it. Okay, you want it you want to make sure that it's always on the top, because that'll tell you if your top eggs are cooked or not. Okay, so I got my vinegar water in there, my 12 quarts of vinegar water in there at least. So now I'm going to let this sit, and we'll be back when it gets boiling. As you can see, my water isn't boiling hard. It doesn't need to boil hard, just enough to make the bubbles. But you can see that my indicator, get that protein out of the way, my indicator says that the eggs are completely done. Now I'll turn off my heat, and I'll just let them sit. This big pot took about an hour to do, which sounds like I really overcooked them, but it takes that long for the water to heat up and for the eggs to acclimate. I wish I could acclimate. Yeah. Means to come up to the same temperature, up to the temperature we want it to be. Oh, my lens got all foggy. Here we go.
And now it's green.
Yep, now it's green. Now we do this. Cool thing I just discovered is that when they did the last update, they made it so you can correct the color on these. It's so cool. Okay, so I don't have eggs that crack. I don't have eggs that, or I have few eggs that crack. I won't say I don't ever have eggs that crack. I have a few. Those are ones I use for my potato salad.
And deviled eggs.
And the deviled eggs, they become the seconds for the deviled eggs. Everything else gets dyed. I have to do 15 dozen because we get some, and the church gets about 5 dozen of these eggs that they give away at the Easter breakfast.
Yeah,
so
they get, like, eaten.
Yeah. 5 dozen eggs inside my container. I work with 5 dozen eggs because 1, it's easier to carry, and 2, they cool down a little bit faster than if you try to do the whole batch at once. I start with really hot water to start with because they just came out of a hot water bath, so I don't want to shock them. Okay. So you can use the sprayer or you can use the plain. It's up to you. But you want to fill them so that the eggs get covered with the hot water first. All right, just really hot tap water should be enough. Because remember, you've already had them just sitting there cooling down a bit. All right. Then, once this gets filled up, then I will slowly start to cool my water down. All right. Doesn't usually take that long to do. When I feel that the temperature inside the water has made a significant change, then I'll move it down to the next level. And I just do that all the way until I get to the really cold water. And this helps prevent your eggs from cracking too, from being shocked by the cold water. I don't know if it helps any with the creaminess. I don't think so. I think that's more the egg timer. Okay. You don't want to feel right underneath the faucet because that's always going to be colder than you want. You want to feel over by where the eggs are at. Stick your hand down in the bottom, okay? Maybe give it a little twirl. Mix that water up all the way to cold. Okay, now I'm at my full coldness right now. See? Not a crack. Now, I'm not saying there aren't any cracks. What we do is we sort through them. And I put all the cracked eggs into one spot, and then that goes into the potato salad and into my deviled eggs, and the rest that aren't cracked go in for dyeing. Still pretty warm down there on the bottom. That one a little bit longer. All right. And now I'll let those sit for about 10 minutes. All right. Now I got my first 5 dozen eggs. Well, minus 2. Soaking.
I'll give you some more light.
Oh, that's fine, honey.
I see one.
Okay. Well, we just have to fix it this way. See, you can...
Caesar.
Yeah. Coming to borrow the toter. Anyways, okay, can you hold that on there?
Yep.
Okay, as you can see, I've already cracked one open. Make sure you're just keeping on here. Okay. So, let me find a... I dropped these, that's why I've got cracked ones. They kept popping off the tongs.
That looks good.
Okay. So, as you can see, you're always hungry. You're a teenage boy. As you can see, the eggs peel really nice because they're old eggs. They're a couple of weeks old. We bought these a couple of weeks ago. Okay.
You mangled it.
Just on the one spot. Anyways.
I'm going to eat that.
Alright, so, make sure I got all my shell off. Now it's 5 dozen eggs minus 3. Alright, the white is not rubbery, it's very soft. In fact, the first one that I peeled, I almost thought that I had undercooked them. Look how pretty they are. Okay, and the discoloration is really limited. But then that's really not a problem. Most egg yolks are dry and they get stuck in your throat. These are really creamy. That's why I love that egg timer. You don't overcook it, you don't undercook it.
And she's eating my egg.
It's not your egg, it's my egg. It's my YouTube video. It's my egg.
All the people on YouTube is just like, you're so mean.
No, they're not. They're like, go, girl, go. Okay, I want to make a tail end to my video. From what I can tell, and the kids have said I've missed a couple of these, so they've actually found them for me. These are the only ones that I had that were cracked or smashed. Actually, I accidentally dropped that one. That one's smashed, or I dropped another egg on it. And that's it. It's not even 8 bulky. Just one shy of 18 dozen. I may have eaten that one. So, you know, this method, it's tried and true. I've done it for 20 years now. 15 years now, actually, I think, because I haven't always made the eggs for church. So, about 15 years now, I've been using this technique for making eggs. And, like I said, they turn out really, really well. You know what? I don't think that one's got a... Oh, there it is. That one's got a crack in it. See? That one's got a... That one's got just that little crack in it. Okay? Oh, give it a go. Like I said, those timers came in a set of 2. It was the egg timer, shaped like an egg, and the spaghetti timer, which is round. And then that was a buck at the Dollar Tree. That was several years ago. I don't know if they've still got them or not. You may have to take a look around and see if you can find them someplace, but I was really impressed with how well they work.